Hello, hello, and happy Wednesday. We guys made it to the middle of the week, and thank you so much, John and Soumya, for explaining to us exactly how you're going about India. Now, without further delay, unless you guys are already sleeping, then you should be wide awake for the next session. It comes from, or someone who I admire a lot and respect a lot, and has represented India since a long time in the West, and now building the future of storage on Aptos. We will be having Pranav Raval now on stage, who is the head of infrastructure at Aptos Labs and the GM at Shelby. He will be telling us all about Shelby, but more than that, what is the future of data economy. I'm super excited, and I think a few of you, especially the creators, influencers, this might be super relevant for you. So can we have a big round of applause for Pranav coming on stage?
Right. Good morning. Thanks a lot for the introduction, Survi. Quick show of hands. Who has heard about Shelby before? 1, 2, 3. And yeah, I'm not talking about the hospital. The Shelby, the protocol. All right. Very few people. Okay, that's good and bad. It's bad because our marketing team needs to do a better job. And it's good because you guys all are going to get some fresh content today. All right, so quick introduction. I'm Pranav. I lead everything Shelby. Before that, I was head of infrastructure at Aptos Labs. And before that, I spent a lot of years building the core compute infrastructure for all of Facebook/Meta. All right, so let's talk about where we are right now and where we are building Shelby. So the universe of on-chain asset has been expanding. We have got, we started with Bitcoin, we have stables, we have got currencies, we have digital properties, and now we have real-world assets that has all come on-chain. However, the most important digital asset is still not on-chain, and that's data. And let's talk about why I say it's the most important digital asset. Let's step back. Let's look at the data growth. Let's see what's happening. So this is where you can say that there is about, in next few years, every year the internet is going to produce 500 zettabytes of data every year. So that is, if you think about the whole hierarchy, terabyte, petabyte, exabyte, zettabyte. And now this all could be junk data, but let me tell you about a quick anecdote from my experience at Facebook. When we built the compute and data infrastructure, every team from Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, they all had a budget of how much data and compute they could use. There was one team that routinely blew past their budget, had the highest budget year over year, and everything was driven around that one team. Any guesses what that team could be? Well, here's the answer. OK, going back. Here's the answer. It's the ads. Ads was the team that used maximum amount of data and compute at Facebook, because there is direct correlation between the amount of data you are generating and amount of revenue you are producing. And the same thing is happening with user-generated content. There is trillions of dollars of revenue that is being generated, and none of that revenue is coming on-chain. On the other hand, when you look at the pure infrastructure market, the cloud market is also exploding. Again, there is hundreds of billions of dollars of revenue and market value that is just not being captured on-chain. There are 3 primary modes how this revenue is being generated and captured. You store the data, you serve the data, and then you process the data. With each step, the revenue being unlocked is more and more. But when you look at the decentralized infrastructure right now, the only thing you can do is store. And especially in the age of AI, the data has become the most valuable asset. Still, again, it becomes completely off-chain and siloed. And as a result, all of the revenue is being generated and being captured by a small number of big companies. And why is this happening? Because let's talk about how hard it is to bring data on-chain. Blockchain 101, hundreds of nodes come together. They agree on the state of the current ledger. And the reason why you cannot put large data on-chain, because blockchains by definition are built for small compute and small data. So you can have small compute, small data, and the data gets replicated hundreds of or even thousands of times. So you cannot put large data on-chain like that. We have had many attempts as building decentralized storage solutions. this is Shelby is not the first one. You have heard about many storage solutions. It started with Filecoin, Arweave, there's Walrus. But they all suffered from something very similar. There is a common problem. You start with spare capacity. You say, hey, I have a big machine. I'll join the network. I'll participate in storing your data. There is low connectivity. All the nodes connect over public internet. And then there is at least 5x replication. So the solution that you're building for storage starts becoming very expensive because you have to replicate your data many times. The nodes are not trustworthy. You cannot rely on the nodes. And you cannot trust. And so you just end up replicating the data many times over. So on-chain data has to be decentralized in a different way. Right? And so before I go there, and before we talk about Shelby, there is also a common question. Why don't just use S3? Let's put all the data on Amazon S3 or Google Cloud Server and just call it a day, right? There are a ton of problems that people have been complaining about. We have vendor lock-in, number one. Every big company is building multi-cloud redundancy solution because there is vendor lock-in. There are extremely high egress costs, and they start getting you. You start with free credits, and before you know, I have not come across a single scalable a company that is scaling their revenues and not complaining about their cloud bills. They eventually get you. There is also low programmability. There is no trust and verifiability. Your data can be on anywhere. You don't even know your location of your data. There is clunky system integration. Now, a bunch of integration, your data is not on-chain and easily integrated with your workflows. And then there are also lots of geographical constraints. Every S3 bucket, you have to figure out which geography you want to start and create in. Now, if you have to use it somewhere else, you have to start replicating data and pay, again, ton of extra cost. All right, so then let's talk about Shelby. We talked about the data needs to come on-chain, the revenue needs to come on-chain, but the current state of decentralized systems are extremely poor. They do not meet the performance, cost, or scalability criteria. So Shelby is Web3's first cloud-grade infrastructure. And when I talk about this, let's talk about a very simple non-technical definition. The non-technical definition is that if I build a data-heavy application, directly hitting Shelby, I am not going to show any spinning wheel. That's the performance expectation. And then scale expectation is I can have hundreds of thousands of users. I don't need to worry about what's happening in the back end. And Shelby is going to be the first decentralized protocol that can offer you both extremely low latency, very high throughput, data streaming, data serving, and data processing. Cool. So Shelby has been purposely engineered for future of data economy, and I'll talk about the layers of architecture. How do we achieve this? How do we enable a decentralized system to meet the clouds on performance, on reliability, on availability, and even beat them on cost? Like, how are we doing this? So one of the two foundation layers, the bottommost layer is a dedicated fiber network. We talked about how all the other storage protocols, they use low bandwidth, low connectivity, public internet. There is megabits per second throughput. You cannot do much with that kind of throughput. Shelby will have hundreds of data centers connected across the world with a dedicated decentralized fiber network. You guys might have heard about a project called 00 that provides this connectivity. Shelby is being built right on top of it. Number two, a fast, reliable, decentralized coordination layer. You need to track where all your data is, who has made payments, who has stored the data, who is the owner, who has been granted access to the data. All of this needs to be coordinated on-chain. And there were no blockchains that were able to support this kind of workload until now. And finally, with Aptos, we have the scale, the performance throughput, and the gas cost that is available so that this Aptos can be a global coordination layer for a highly scalable system like Shelby. On top of that, we have paid reads. In the world of decentralized system, incentives are everything. Even I will go further and say not just decentralized systems. I think it was either Warren Buffett or somebody who said that show me the incentives and I'll show you the outcomes. This exactly plays out in decentralized systems. Your system performs exactly the way the incentives are set up. Shelby is the first decentralized system that has read incentives. So everybody who participates in the network is incentivized to serve data as fast as possible. If they don't do it, somebody else will do it, and they'll miss out on the revenue opportunity, right? So read incentives or paid reads is a very key component. battle-tested software. Hang on to this one. I'll come back to this when we talk about our partnership. But this is a very important point why we are able to hit Shelby and go to market very fast. Efficient coding scheme. Remember I talked about data replication. We are at least doing 5x or sometimes even 10x replication in decentralized systems because it was done very naively. All the cloud systems, they don't just naively replicate your data. They use something called erasure coding scheme, where they take your data, they split the data such that some chunks, even if they are lost, you can reconstruct them on the fly. So your replication overhead goes significantly low. So for Shelby, the replication overhead would be sometimes about 1.6x your data volume. All other decentralized storage protocols at least does 5x replication, if not 10x. And S3's replication overhead is 1.4x. So we are extremely close to coming to the current cloud overheads with Shelby's efficient encoding scheme. And the last one is auditing. Again, in a decentralized system, it's a trustless system. If the nodes say they have their data, they have to keep proving that they are still storing the data because they will be getting some sort of incentive to store the data as well. And if you're not checking, they'll just make free money. And when you have to serve the data, you're not going to get anything. So the read incentives is one end of the serving the data, and auditing is on the storage side. And again, done naively at scale, an auditing protocol can take up all of your bandwidth. But we have a pretty unique, novel auditing protocol that allows you to make sure that nobody's cheating the system. Right? And on top of that, then you have the bottom one is the storage providers, RPC nodes that serve out the data, and then we have APIs and SDKs at the front end for developers to build. So that is kind of Shelby architecture in a nutshell. We have a lot of information on our website. I'll give you a link at the end. You can read the white paper. You can read up on a bunch of technical details. And this is another view of the architecture. We have talked about it, so I'm going to skip it for now. So again, let's reminder the state of decentralized storage. Spare capacity, low connectivity, high replication, and no read incentives. Shelby changes everything, go from kind of spare capacity to high capacity. Shelby will have, all of the nodes will be in highly connected data centers with half a petabyte or a petabyte per node kind of capacity. We are building an exabyte scale cloud storage here, right? So every node will have a lot of capacity. There is going to be dedicated fiber. There is going to be row replication and incentive to serve. And this kind of in a nutshell, how we are ushering the new era of decentralized cloud, where we can be actually cheaper. And yes, that is true. When we started the project, we are not sure. We thought, S3, Amazon, they go so upstream in the supply chain. There is no way you can beat them on cost. It turns out they have so many high markup in all of their costs, from storage to egress to everything else. So we can be cheaper than the clouds. We can be faster, as fast, if not faster. And we have some benchmarks that we'll publish soon. And that is how we want to bring data-driven value on chain. Right now, we are starting with the middle layer, which is the hot storage. But similar, like I said, data is kind of temporal and thermal. So as the time progresses, data can become hot, cold, and kind of go from hot to cold layers very fast. Shelby will have the full data life cycle. And there is going to be very interesting incentive models will be coming for hot and cold layers as well. All right, so once we put it all together, we hope to unlock trillions of markets, right? That's already the revenue is being generated. The revenue is not coming on chain. We talked about cloud market. On top of, we'll have decentralized growth drivers. And there are three big ones that I want to talk about. One is the user-generated content. The other one is media and entertainment industry. And the last one, and of course not the least, is AI. We have a ton of AI narratives. We have a ton of cloud narratives. We have a ton of infra narratives. But Shelby, for real, is going to bring all of this value on chain. All right, and before I go further into the use cases, I want to talk about why Shelby or nobody else has built a protocol like Shelby. Why does this protocol does not exist today? Because it requires a lot of non-trivial engineering. And we have an edge. We have a secret sauce. So Aptos Labs, our team came from Facebook. So our team has a ton of experience building core infrastructure at Facebook, from storage to compute, scaling Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook, all the products at global scale. And then we have a partner, Jump, which you may or may not have heard about, but Jump is a high-frequency trading infrastructure. the engineering teams at Jump, they think about latency in terms of nanoseconds, not milliseconds, nanoseconds. So their storage stack is extremely high performance, and we are going to take their existing storage code and put it in Shelby. So Shelby will be powered by similar storage software that is powering high-frequency trading infrastructure right now, right? So this is why it's possible because of this collaboration, and that is why it's been very hard, and nobody else has been able to do this so far. Cool. So let's quickly talk about key use cases. I touched upon the 3 buckets, and let's start with the, I talked about bringing data and revenue on chain. Let's talk about the first big bucket, AI and compute. Quick show of hands. Who has heard about the term neocloud? Anybody? Neocloud? Okay, very interesting. Okay, cool. So if you've, I was listening to Jensen Huang. He's saying that if you get a GPU for free from our competitors, your value from NVIDIA chipset is still higher. And the reason the NVIDIA chipset value is very high is that they are no longer just providing GPUs. They are providing a highly interconnected, high-performance kind of system on the chip. There are a bunch of GPUs packed together with high-performance interconnects, and they are being put together with high-performance data caches. And there is a CoreView was the first one, which was a GPU-first cloud. Another about 10 to 15, the term is called neocloud, which are GPU-first clouds built and put together to serve AI workloads. But they are running into a very interesting challenge. They have all the GPUs, but the data from all the enterprises, they are locked into these different clouds. They do not have a very easy way to bring data to their GPUs. So their GPUs are not even actually being utilized. There is so much investment that's gone in, but the data, bringing data to GPU remains and becomes a very interesting challenge for this, for the AI age. And Shelby, number one, we are going to start with integrating with neoclouds because we are going to have this global footprint. Data can seamlessly move across regions. So wherever you have GPUs, Shelby can bring you data there. And next, we are going to put compute next to Shelby. So all Shelby nodes will also have GPUs and CPU next to them. And Shelby itself will become a neocloud that will be serving the AI workload. The next big important use case is portable context. All of our data, like my ChatGPT instance knew everything about Shelby before we had even announced it publicly. Because I was constantly interacting, I was trying to understand, I had uploaded all of our white paper and design. So that, and people are talking about their healthcare and uploading their health records. So the data lock-in that we have seen with like your Google has your data and Facebook has your data, in AI age, that exponentially gets locked into a single system. And so portable context, you can easily bring all of your context between models. And there are a bunch of projects who are working on Shelby to enable portable context. I am personally most excited about doing this use case right. There's going to be a lot of value to the society if we can make this happen. AI data marketplaces are pretty self-explanatory. There is a lot of specialized data is being created. All the models have been trained on all the openly available data. The next round of differentiation in model comes from custom, hard-to-acquire data sets. And that is where AI data marketplaces on Shelby will have a big role to play. The next one is streaming and content. There are 2 big use cases I want to call out. Use case number 1 is large enterprises and studios. The second one is creator economy and new monetization models. So let's talk about the large enterprises. We feel like decentralized systems, they don't add much value to large enterprises. They already have their clouds. Why do they need to enable anything on chain? Why do they need to bring anything on chain? And here is the example. NBC Universal, they have built many characters over time. Let's take one example, Shrek. They have a ton of content with Shrek. Now they want to train models with data and Shrek as a character. They want to open up those models for creators to, using Gen AI, build new content using Shrek such that the IP can be tracked on chain, the revenue can be tracked on chain, the revenue share will be tracked on chain, and creators can create high quality content. The last thing NBC Universal wants is AI slops being generated using their own creators. So they control the quality because they have trained the models. They allow creators to be very creative, generate new content, and they get revenue share, and IP is being tracked on-chain. So in the world of AI, like even big enterprises are seeing value in bringing data, content, IP, rights, and payment all on-chain, all integrated through smart contracts. This is a huge validation for whatever we are building, and it kind of proves that there is a mass adoption that's waiting to happen. Let's talk about the next use case. And I don't know how many of you are here, but one of the largest enterprises in India that I'll not name again, but you kind of pretty much know if you are here yesterday, talked about being very excited about Shelby because they want to build new ad tech platform that brings transparency and verifiability in all of the ad data. There is a lot of fraud and there's a lot of fraud that happens in ad tech, and then you have third-party verification. Your kind of data is opaque. You don't know how many impressions you actually got. They want to bring all of this data on-chain and put the data packets on Shelby and run analytics from there so that all the participants can verify that the entire ad tech network runs on transparency and verifiability. So again, a very interesting use case why data needs to be brought on-chain. Ad network, we talked about that being a $1 trillion use case, and one of the largest enterprises in India is now exploring this. It's just a matter of time where other people catch on to this trend as well. I talked about two very, very large use cases with a big Hollywood studio to a large enterprise. And that is very exciting to us. That is kind of gives us a validation that we are on the right track. Creator economy and new monetization model. Currently, my Twitter feed is full of complaints about YouTube. YouTube has this AI-driven moderation. Creators have uploaded and created content for 3, 4, 5 years. One fine day, the AI bot comes and says, well, you violated some random policy. I cannot give you more details, but your channel is shut down. Like your entire livelihood is gone as a creator. And as you, so that is one trend. The second trend that we are seeing that as the creator themselves grow and they bring brand endorsement, they don't want to give up 45, 50% of their revenue to large platforms like YouTube. So they seek more and more autonomy and more monetization models. They want to deliver premium content to their subscribers. They want to have token-gated content. They want to have pay-as-you-go model. So they want more autonomy and more ownership on the entire stack. So there are two big reasons why the creator economy. And then we can bring new monetization models on the creator economy. For example, prediction markets driven by content. So the creators who are creating content, right next to it, there could be a prediction market. And then people can bet on it. And again, a new way for creators to monetize their content. So Shelby is going to enable that as well. So large enterprises, creators. Let's talk about deep in IoT and sensor data. I was just yesterday talking to one of the biggest names in deep in ecosystem. Somebody has nodes all over the world. They're generating terabytes and terabytes of data. And guess what is the number one problem? The number one problem is cloud costs. They are generating, all of the sensors are generating so much data. The data that's not easily available. The data has a lot of geographic data, weather data, mapping data. It's not available easily. There is a lot of demand when people want to buy it. But between generating data, writing data, and people reading data, they end up paying so much cost on so much cloud cost. So there is a quick example how Shelby stacks up with big clouds. The more you read the data, the more you save on big clouds. So this is the, we have a very detailed cost model that we have published online. You can go and read that. But yeah, for again, creators and DPINs and all, like they want monetization option. They want token-gated content. They want payment-gated content. They want to bring all the logic on chain. Like on Shelby, you have smart contract. As long as you have true or false, you can provide access. Within that, you can embed any kind of logic. So your data comes on-chain, becomes programmable. All right. So let's quickly talk about this. Now that we have the architecture, we talked about the use cases, we talked about this pretty large, massive revenue opportunities. So what happens when we bring it all together? What is our ultimate goal? Our ultimate goal is to start the new economy flywheel in the decentralized, in a decentralized way. So Web3 so far, we talked about, we have started with Bitcoin, we have gone to stables. Currency, we have nailed the use case. Digital assets, tokenized assets, we have nailed the use case from meme coins to RWAs. But if you squint hard and you think about these use cases, at the end of the day, these use cases are about value exchange. You are paying somebody or you are trading something, you are just exchanging value. And if you want to be more critical, there is value extraction, there is MEV, there is arbitrage. That becomes the main way of making money on-chain. The future we see with Shelby is different. We see decentralized data, which is the key driver of revenue. Then we are going to put compute next to it. With that, you can analyze, train, and infer. And then you'll have massively revenue-generating DApps. Right now, think about how many DApps are generating big revenue. We have Polymarket, we have Pump Fun, and we have one more that I'm blanking out on. There are very handful of names that are generating revenue. With Shelby, there are going to be lots of DApps that will be revenue generating, and that is the value creation. So yes, let's talk about the value exchange. That is very important. With right next to it, you put value creation, the DApps that I talked about. When they kind of launch and launch their token, that TG will have unprecedented participation. You will be able to raise the capital that kind of gets invested back into this decentralized value creation engine, right? So that's the flywheel of decentralized digital economy that we want to start with Shelby. And this is what we see as Web3 endgame. Right now, everybody talks about the left side of this picture, capital markets. With Shelby, we are putting a counterpart, a symbiotic relationship, the innovation engine that we have seen play out, right? In US, I say the left side is Wall Street, and the right side is Silicon Valley. Like in Indian context, I would say left side is Mumbai, and right side is probably, you take a guess, like you know what is the right side. But yes, a capital market and a value exchange engine requires its value creation engine, which is kind of lacking right now for us. All right, so with that, one last thing I want to talk about is our progress and how can you start building with Shelby. So momentum and roadmap, it's been about 120 days since we announced. A little bit longer, we have announced a product called Watchy with NBC Universal. Shelby Theater is another product that's coming, that we are building products. We have over 50 plus potential partners and early collaborators who are already building on Shelby. We have DevNet is live in, we have live in DevNet. Testnet is coming in January. We are going to hit Testnet hard. We have a program called Launch Partner Program for interesting use cases that will allow us to validate that Shelby is ready for mainnet. If you have an interesting use case, you want to participate in the Launch Partner Program, let us know. And then right after that, we are going to have Testnet V2, where we'll scale the network. And after that, we are going to go live in mainnet sometime early in 2026, but date is TBD. And yeah, with DevNet, you have all the SDKs, APIs, all of the info, all the tools that a developer needs is available. Our stated goal is that if you don't know anything about Shelby from there to building on Shelby, it should take you less than 30 minutes. So there is no reason for you to not try out. Try out, I'm sure everything that you are trying to build has some sort of data component. Put it on Shelby, let us know your experience, give us feedback. There is a Discord server. Here is a QR code. The website is Shelby.xyz. There is a Discord server. You can join the Discord server. We'll have early incentive programs coming out soon with Testnet as well. So make sure you join it. And one very big and important last thing to add, we are also going to have a very strong presence at Breakpoint because Shelby, even though it's coordinated on Aptos, Shelby is going to be accessible from any chain, any stack. You can be on Solana, you can be on Base, you can be on any ETH chain, or for all that, you can be on no chain. You can be just a plain old Web2 company. There is a Google login that works with Shelby. Your on-chain account gets created automatically. You don't even need to know it's on-chain. Shelby will still bring value to your enterprise and your company. And so that's why we are very excited. We are looking forward to having all of the participants at IBW start building on Shelby. Give us feedback, keep us honest, follow us on our journey, build with us, and let's bring data-driven revenue on-chain. Thank you.